None. No. Good evening. I call to order this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education and declare a quorum. We have 6 members present this evening. At this time, I'd like to welcome and introduce Vivian Jones and Mac Jones, pre-K students at Funkstown School for Early Childhood Education. Vivian and Mac, you're here this evening to lead us in the pledge and a moment of silence. Would you like to come forward to the microphone, please? And whenever you're ready, you can just begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mac and Vivian, do you have someone here with you that you would like to introduce? Who are you here with this evening?
Krista,
Krista. And who is Krista?
my mom,
Your mom. And do you have someone else here, perhaps from Funkstown?
no,
Oh, you don't? How about in the row behind your mom? Is there someone there you recognize? Who is that lady?
Oh, my glory.
Do you know her?
Miss Kaufman,
Yes, that's Mrs. Kaufman. And Mrs. Kaufman is what? What is she?
my principal.
Your principal. Welcome, welcome. Well, we thank you for being here. Is there anything you would like to share with us about Funkstown, your school?
No,
No? Is there anything you'd like to tell us or ask us?
no,
No? How about you, Vivian? Is there anything you would like to tell us about your school?
no.
No? Okay.
We made an elf trap today.
You made an elf trap today. Oh, so you're hoping to catch an elf? Oh, my goodness. And what will you do if you do catch it? Or him or her? Do you have a plan for what you're going to do with that elf? Oh, you'll have to think about that, won't you? Yeah, all right. Well, thank you both for being here this evening and for leading us in the pledge and our moment of silence. You better watch out. Thank you. Okay, looking for a motion to approve our agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. All those in favor of approval of the agenda? Okay, 6-0, and the student member concurs. And approval of the minutes?
Madam President, I move for approval of the joint meeting with delegation minutes dated Tuesday, December 5th, 2017.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Any additions or corrections to that set of minutes? All those in favor? Okay, 6-0.
I move for approval of closed session minutes dated Tuesday, December 5th, 2017.
Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any additions or corrections to the closed meeting minutes? Okay, all those in favor of acceptance? Okay, 6-0.
Madam President, I move for approval of business meeting minutes dated Tuesday, December 5th, 2017.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor of approving that set of minutes? Okay, 6-0, and the student member concurs. At this time, we have no one signed up for public comment. No one has signed up in advance. Is there anyone in the audience this evening who would like to come forward and offer comment to the board? Okay, thank you. That brings us to our first item of old business, which is consideration of revisions to the FY 2019 budget calendar. Mr. Crew.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams, members of the board. We discussed briefly during the budget session earlier today pending changes to the budget calendar. As you may recall, in June of 2017, this body approved the budget calendar for the FY19 budget. Staff is recommending edits to that budget to expedite the budget process to get a finalized approved budget from the Board of Education to the county commissioners approximately 4 to 6 weeks prior to the scheduled date. And through that process as well, for staff also to provide estimates on funding requests from the county on their requested date of January 19th, understanding that revisions will be needed because we won't likely have state funding estimates at that time. But at least we can give them a realistic estimate of what we think the possibilities of funding may be. And with that, we're happy to take any questions you have on the edits that we've provided.
Thank you. I think everyone has a copy of the budget calendar that was provided in the packet. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the revision of the FY 2019 budget calendar.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Crew? All those in favor of approval of the revised general fund budget calendar for FY 2019? 0, and the student member concurs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to our first item of new business. Under consideration this evening is the tentative contract agreement between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators for the 2018-2019 school year. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So this evening, Madam President, we have representatives here from the Administrators Association Group, Mr. Mike Palenko and Mr. Ryan Hinch.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the tentative contract agreement between the Washington County Association for Supervisors and Administrators and the Washington County Board of Education. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ridenour. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor of approving the tentative contract? Okay, 6-0, with the student member concurring.
We'll actually go down front and sign the contract.
Okay.
We're tentative agreement.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. we appreciate it. In the past, the A&S group has typically gone first with our contract negotiations, and I think the board greatly appreciates their leadership again this evening. One of the things I'm proud of in this contract is, as we worked with the WCTA this year and moved to a scale that's 2.5% between each step, which is identical to the percentage difference in our ESP, our educational support personnel, has 2.5% between each step. Our new contract with the A&S group has 2.5% between each step. So as we talk about employees receiving a step increase, we will be treating each group equally, or we will know whether we're providing a step or not providing a step. The agreement is also tentative as far as taking a step on the new scale. Administrators will be moved to the new scale, but they won't get a step on the new scale in July unless there's funding available. So we do appreciate the tentative agreement this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. We'll move to personnel action. Dr. Bishop?
Good evening, Dr. Michael, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Stauffer, and board members. As discussed earlier in closed session, there are several staff changes for your review. At this time, I ask for your approval of today's personnel actions.
Is there a motion?
Move to accept personnel actions.
Thank you, Mr. Reiner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Any questions for Dr. Bishop? All those in favor of approving personnel actions? Okay, 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Bishop.
And I wish everyone a happy holidays.
Thank you, and to you. Superintendent Michael, I skipped over the superintendent's report because it said none. Do you indeed
I
have
have,
something you'd like to report?
No, I have no report tonight other than to, again, wish staff and students and our community Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Under reports to the board, we have board member committee reports, and I don't believe any committees have met since the last time we had a meeting except for policy. So, Mrs. Fisher, it's all yours.
Policy Committee did meet earlier today. We continued working on the ethics policy in order to incorporate some changes that have been made by the state for the ethics and to update a few items. As we will be reconstituting committees for the new year, we have not set a policy next meeting date. That will be coming forth from whoever happens to be chair next year of policy.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. That brings us to miscellaneous business and future agenda items. There is a list of future agenda items in your packet. We do have a meeting on January 2nd. We'll be having an Ed Foundation update that evening, a reading workshop update, and we will be visited by members of the Hagerstown Lioness Club to recognize them for their work that they do for our school system. Also, I'd like to remind you that we just adopted this revised budget calendar, and on the calendar there is a work session scheduled for January 2nd, in addition to our regularly scheduled closed and business meetings. So please be aware. And that brings us then to board member comments. Would you like to begin down there, Mr. Diallo? Nothing? Thank you. Mrs. Murray?
Wish everybody a happy holiday. Be safe.
Merry Christmas.
Mrs. Fisher?
Have a safe and happy holiday.
Mr. Rutherford? Nothing at this time? Okay, Merry Christmas. Wish you a Happy New Year. We'll see you back here on January 2nd, and with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you.